What's up guys, it's Daz here, but you don't really care as we have filled out the map of the Faron region because we are going to get all of the Koroks and all of the treasures in the entire region. We're going for 100% no matter how long it takes us. Now as per usual, we always go from the southernmost point up to the northernmost point and then go scanning from west to east. So for the Koroks, we're going to start right down in the no-tell wetlands and then make our way along the southern edge. Wow, my screen blipped there for a minute. I don't know if that showed up in the recording. Something I do want to point out, though, is these videos are actually going to sound probably a little bit different from this point on. That's because I'm now in the new house in an entirely new setup. On top of that, I'm actually changing it completely how I actually do these type of videos. Beforehand, I did this in post-commentary, whereas now I'm doing it live. Mostly because it saves a whole bunch of time. I'll go into details about that in a minute, but first, let's go and actually grab this Korok. It is a race Korok at the top of one of these big old trees that'll then lead us to the next bigger tree. Lovely. Next up, we're going to go over to the east, just by the Lavera beach. But as I was saying earlier, this is actually being done in a live recording, which is actually going to save me probably at most 3 hours of time. Beforehand, these videos would take upwards of 8 hours to record, because I'd spend 6 hours doing the gameplay, and then another 2 adding in the voice, skipping along the video that I'd recorded. Now that I'm doing it live, it's going to be a lot easier to edit, and also it means that the audio is always going to be synced up, and I won't have to do a whole bunch of syncing throughout the entire video, which is quite a pain. Anyway, now that we're at the Lavera beach, on this cliff, underneath this rock, is our Korok. Yahaha! Next up, we're going to go a little bit further to the east, on the actual shore of the beach. And this Korok, we can actually already see, is floating around invisibly. Actually, that might be the second Korok. Yeah, I think the first one's over here. The first Korok is actually at the very top of this tree. There we go. And the second one is invisibly running around the beach. Third one's gonna be way up higher on the shore cliffs again. And this Korok is simply found alongside the cliff edge behind a bumble rock underneath a rock through there. That's very close up to the screen, buddy. Right, next up, we're going even more to the east, just a little bit among these trees. And what do you know, it is a rock formation you could have seen on the map right by this beach. Right, next up we're going to go over to the other side of the lake. River. I actually want to go to the northernmost one because I think we can do quite a wide spread along this bit. Oh, so it turns out this isn't actually a Korok, this is actually a treasure. I marked it wrong on my map, but hey, oh well. So instead we're going to the next Korok down south and it's just beneath a boulder here. Next up, we're going to the east more. We're going to go up onto the... here. We're going to go to the upper cliff north of the Puffer Beach. So this Korok isn't actually on top of the cliffs, it's actually underneath, invisibly running around the little cave that it's got. Next up, we're going down south to this little body of water. And the Korok is a lily pad Korok. I hope. I just used all my Rivali's Gale on that. Next up, we're going to go to this body of water here. Right, this Korok is a very simple little cube puzzle. And the next one we're going to go to is right on to the Abara Butt. Right here. Alright, so this Korok is actually on top of the plains this time, and it's a pretty big cube puzzle. Right, now at this point we're going to do another loop back from the west. So we're going way back to the shrine, just east of the Davil Peak. Right, this first Korok is up on this rock mound. I keep wanting to say different words. It's an archery test. Next up, we're going just a little bit southeast along these waters. I thought those were trees. Never mind. And it's another invisible dancing Korok. Next up, we're gonna go very east of this mount here, just a little bit north of the actual shrine. Right, so this mountain basically has a whole bunch of bombable rocks in it with a whole bunch of different collectibles. The second one down had the Korok. Right, now we're going even further south along this little plate. Also, because of my setup for recording this with the Nintendo Switch, I can't actually hear the game audio, so I'm just listening to music. And right now I've got Shadow of the Colossus going on, so it's pretty rad. Right, the Korok up on this plate is another cube puzzle. Next up, we're going to go just north of the Perpeto Grotto. You can see there's a little rock formation here by the Parachi Plains. Turns out it's not a rock formation. Again, I always seem to make these discoveries while I'm shield surf paragliding, but anyway, it's a donations one. Next up, we're gonna go just a little bit northeast of here, on this little mound. Everything's a mound in this game. Right, and this takes us to a Korok race. Thankfully, all these sort of online guides to these sort of things do actually show off where you're supposed to start the race now, as opposed to where it ends, meaning I can actually do this nice and safely and calmly without getting stressed. Yay! But yes, anyway, it's going to take us way across this massive field that otherwise doesn't have a lot going for it. Nice. Next one we're going to is now back to the Paraplachi Plains, right on the mound, the top of the mound that we just came from. Right, so I know I just praised the, online maps for actually having an accurate Korok meter thing, but it turns out this Korok is not actually at the top of the mountain. It's a flower trial that apparently hasn't been marked as a path yet on most guides, so somewhere down south. I'll show off where it is when I find it myself. Here it is. It is right by these couple of trees here. Right, next up we're gonna go over to the... Yeah, we'll stick to the main path now. We're gonna be on the Harfin Valley towards the Harran Lake on this little ledge down here. The first one is literally just by the trees. Just, oh, very, very slightly under the sand, huh? And the next one's a lot more hidden, a little bit south of that, right on the coast. Right, now that those two are done, the next place we're going to is up north of the Harfin Valley. Alright, up at the top of this mound, there is an archery test. It's a bunch of acorns flying just a little bit overhead. Oh. Next up, you can see it on the map. It's a little bit east of here. And look at that, it's a rock formation. And the rock is just a little bit south of the actual path. It's just a little bit round the corner, basically. Next up, we're going to the Net Plateau, right at the top. And at the top, it's another archery puzzle. It's... Oh, there they are. Okay, I was gonna say, where are they? Huh, there were a lot more balloons than I thought there were. Right, next up, we're going a tiny bit northeast on... Still on what was it? The Nete Plateau, but it's down on this little ridge down here. Right, down here. Oh, lovely. You'll find golf. Right, and it's just a simple game of golf off the edge of this cliff. Man, neither of the balls fell in. Me or the rock. Alright, next up we're going down to the eastern side of the Net Plateau and making our way up and then along. Right, the next puzzle is a rock formation. The rock can be found up high a little bit west of it, as you can usually tell by the missing gap in the rock formation. I feel like I have to mention it every time, even though it's not always true, but most of the time it is. Next we're going a little north. You can see it on the map. It's another game of golf. And now we're going north once more to another nearby mound. And this guy is a Korok race, going to take us all the way across the entire field, just ahead of the stables. And actually, if I show you on the map, there's basically nothing else in this field. There's like no treasures or Koroks or anything, so this is your chance to, I don't know, have fun. Whew, okay, up next we're going to go back down along here because I'm not going to go make the mistake of going on this path. We're now next going down where we've done those two. Down to this mound here, just southeast of the Kaomagak Shrine. And it's time for another... No, wait, this is the Korok we just did. What am I talking about? I'm an idiot. Where we actually need to go is just north of the Lake of the Horse God. Hold on, name. It's a lily pad Korok. And next up, we're going a little bit south of there. And right at the top is a rock formation. And the rock is on an elevated plane from the northeast direction of the formation. Next up, we're going to the very peak of this mountain here in the Abara Butt. And the Korok is simply at the top of the rock at the top of the mountain. And giving us a sneak preview of the one location in this corner we haven't done yet. Next up, we're going directly north, just west of the Heron Lake. Interesting, we're now being given a tower that's leading us to a Korok. Usually it would lead to a treasure, but I guess they wanted to be different this time, or I'm just completely wrong with this. Let's find out. Huh. Oh, it's a Korok race to another tower. Wow, okay, let's do this. And a single acorn up here, huh? I'm hoping this doesn't move into... Okay, no, it doesn't go into out of bounds regions. Whew, I got a concern then as I was flying over. Right, next we're going to go down to this last little leg of this mountain. Oh, it's a rock formation. Right, giant formation and a giant missing piece. It is just directly to the west. Pretty much a little bit south, but it's basically directly west. Right, and I don't know why I'm yawning now. It's literally 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but oh well. Now we're going to go back and do a whole lovely scan. This time I think we'll do it about this height to get all of the land south of Lake Hylia. So next up, we're going back down to this big old mountain here, just west of the Zokasa Ridge. Right, this Korok is just behind a bombable rock on the eastern edge of this mountain here. Next up, we're going to go up to the Towerbab grasslands on this tree here. And this guy's just a balloon in the tree. Next up, we're going to go a little bit east, just west of the Grindel Plains. And this guy's, again, really easy, just an acorn in a log. Right, time for a leap ahead, I think. Yeah, there you go. So we are now going to go to this little coast southwest of Lake Hylia. Right down here, it is a nice little cube puzzle. Next up, we're gonna go over to the west part of the Kora Lake. Right, so this Korok is not even a lily pad Korok. That's exactly what I was expecting. Interesting. Right, the Korok is not actually a lily pad Korok as I thought it was. It's actually on a ledge behind a rock, or underneath a rock, just a little bit on the side of it. Right, next one we're going to is a little bound south. Little bound south, apparently. And here it is, another rock formation puzzle. The rock's hidden inside the bushes nearby. 444. Next up, we're going back to the Kora Lake. Pretty much in the middle of it. Okay, so this next Korok is just evil. It's a cube puzzle that's incredibly hard to see, and I think I just had the bad luck of actually being here while it was raining, so it was even harder to see around, but apparently there is a cube puzzle, or a cube, hidden very, very well among these islands somewhere. I'll show you them off when I find it myself. Wow, there it is. very low down, very hidden. Even when I was looking around on Magnesis, it didn't pick up automatically. We are on this island here, right by that big rock, if that's helpful at all. And the cube puzzle, where's the rest of it? Oh, Jesus, look how horrible this is hidden. Literally so deep in that, that's horrifying. It's horrible. Cruelty. There's the cube puzzle. Look at that. Can you see that? Just about. Oh, it's so horrible. And this might be a very bad move, but we'll find out. Oh, I think that went quite in my favor. Favor. Except the cube's now gone missing. Has it like restarted because I threw it back in the water? Yes, it has. You know, this puzzle is really colorblind unfriendly. And even if you're not colorblind, this is pretty unfriendly. Oh, finally. Alright, with that done, Jesus. Next up, we're going to go down just west of the Hyrule Plain. Right, now this Korok is just a simple lily pad Korok. Let's go further south. And this one is simply behind a bombable rock along the western edge. Next up, we're going just east of the tower on this little land here. And this Korok is simply a game of golf. Sweet. Next up, we're going to the northern side of the path. And this guy is simply an invisible wandering Korok going around this little mound. I need to stop saying mound. Next, you can see it on the minimap, we're going a tiny bit north. It's really easy golf. $4.50. Right, now we're going to go a little bit east along the very southern coast of Lake Hylia. It's an acorn in a tree. Next up, we're going to go southeast, just north of the... No, we're not. We're going to go just south of the Finra Woods, because there's another one a little bit more to the west. And at the top of one of the pillars at the very southern part of the Finra Woods is your Korok. Now we're going to the northern side of the forest. Again, it's just putting golf. Right, now we're going to go over to the shrine, just a little bit north of the path through Pago Woods. And this guy's a ball and chain Korok. We haven't seen one of those in a while. Moving further into the Pago Woods, we're going just above the word Pagos. And it's a pretty lovely, easy to see flower trail. I keep calling them trials, I think. They bring you around all the different pillars in the little ruins here. Right, next we're going to go down south to this body of water by the Guccini Plains. And the Korok is a rock circle throwing trial. Damn, I missed. Oh, that's so tricky to do. Oh, no. I think I've lost all my chances now on that. Oh, no, I've got more rocks. Oh, wait, I can just throw it on the block. Stay stable. Or... Oh! Okay. That works too. Right, next we're going to go just a little northeast. The Korok can be found behind this metal slate. Moving on, we're going to go up north, just west of the Zonai ruins to the end of the lake. And then make our way down and get this guy too. And this Korok's just a lily pad. Next one is just by the bridge. So here's a very odd one-off Korok. There are thing, and then a simple ball. You need to have all three on the little islands at the same time. Creative. Odd. Something. Stasis is the way to go, by the way. Right, with those done, we're now going to go over just south of the word Pago Woods. This guy's just invisible, running around the little pond here. Right, next we're going to jump on over to this tiny little body of water here. And this guy is just dancing around, gleefully, invisibly. Right, time for another scan through. This time we're going way up to the west, and we're going right in the Tower Bab grasslands again. Right, this first Korok can be found, as you can probably imagine, up one of the biggest trees in this massive region. And this first Korok is just an acorn attached to probably one of the biggest trees in the game. Right, next up we're going just a tiny bit east onto the Mount Falora. And this second Korok is just on the top of the tree at the very top of this mountain. Typical that I had rain literally show up as I was climbing. Used 2 Rivali's Gales just to get up the mountain. Right, third one we're going to is going to take us on the northwest coast of Hyrule Lake, or Lake Hyrule. And this Korok is simply a racing Korok that needs us to go onto the land over there. I recommend just getting, quite honest, prepared already. Also helps to not have rain right now. Right, up next we're going to go directly south along the coast, the western coast of Hyrule Lake. I keep saying it the wrong way around because I'm seeing the word Hyrule Island on the map. Right, this next guy's just underneath a rock. And now we're going to go onto the northwest island of Hyrule Island. Just realized I had put a little marker on this little pier, which on the guide that I was following actually meant that there was a raft there, not that there was a Korok there, so I got a little mixed up. If you were going through things by the map, I'm sorry if I messed you up there. We actually want to go onto this tree here instead, because at the top of it is an activatable hidden Korok. Next up, we're going to go into the top right, just by the bridge entrance from the northern side. Did I make the same mistake with the pier and the Korok again? Yes. Yes, I did. That's not a Korok, that is a raft. And that's what that marker means on the online map. Right, next up, we're going to actually take on the Bridge of Hyrule. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Koroks on it. So let's just roll along it from south to north. Alright, here we are. First things first, we need to go underneath. Second diamond bit in, and there is a Korok underneath a rock underneath it. So the second one in. Fourth one in. Jesus. Excuse me. Right. Right, now the next Korok needed a little bit of sunshine, but thankfully we're all good now. We need to actually climb down this bridge on the right-hand side of it to follow this flower path. So let's do it, please. Safely. Oh! There we go. Bit of a tricky way to do it, but I did it. Oh, right. No drowning, please. Right, moving straight along, we have 2 Koroks coming up that are both the easiest and the hardest ones ever, kind of. This one is very simply found in the very center, at the top of the mini little fountain. Pretty predictable and pretty easy to work out and find. The other one, it's a bit of a spin-off Korok is what I'm going to describe it as. We're looking for this tree branch. It is underneath this, well, the northern part of the disc on the western side of it. Take it. Oh, well, let me throw something away first. Take and you get a Korok. Why? Because it's there? Because it's suspicious? I don't know. But you pick up a tree branch, you get a Korok. And here is the next Korok. It is again in a broken pillar. It is 3 nodules above from the centerpiece of Bridge of Hyrule. And it's underneath a slate, as you can probably tell. Wow, this thing is just flattening me, and that's it. Oh no, I'm actually getting flattened now. There we go, much better. And then there's the rock. And that's us pretty much done with the bridge. There's another Korok just a little bit off the main entrance, which we're going to go get next. Now technically, I guess this is still a bridge Korok, because it actually requires the bridge. There's a whole bunch of stones up here, and down there is your target. Wow, that's really satisfying, actually. Right, now that that's all done, we're next going to go to this little Korok over here. It's a lily pad Korok, which I managed to do from the bridge. I guess that was also kind of the intention. Does this count as a bridge Korok too? Jeez. Right, next up we're going to go way down to this little Clover Islands here. Again with a bit of a spin-off Korok. Here is a cube puzzle formation. There's a cube out of the way, put it in the formation. What is it with Faron region and having like spin-off Koroks? Jeez, right, the next one we're gonna go to is this one here, right on the very coast of Lake Hylia. And this Korok is simply another game of golf, although apparently that ball doesn't want to roll. Alright, this one will do. Will it? Nope, it won't go in, okay. Alright, next up we're gonna go down to this Korok next. Still on the eastern coast, but a little bit south. Right, and this guy is an archery puzzle, archery test. Shouldn't be too difficult. Okay, I don't know how I lost that many arrows, but I did. That's quite shameful. Right, next one we're going for is not down south, because that's only treasures. We are going then... We'll go back up to this guy. Yeah, in the middle of this very wet forest. Or wet trees, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Here we are. It is a simple ball and chain. The wet trees have nothing to do with it. Moving on, we're gonna go down to the peak of Farosh Hills. Alright, and now that we're here, it's a simple crescendo flower puzzle, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is what you're looking for. Right, next we're going down further, to another peak. It's a tree puzzle, guessing by the map alone. There we go, I was right. Durians this time, I think. Right, next we're going to go to another peak. There's just 3 peaks and we're just running along them all. Here's the Korok, just at the very peak of this peak, under a rock. 480, lovely. Right, next up we're going to go up north again, do another mini part of the scan. We're going to this body of water northeast of Farosh Hills. Right, now down here there are 2 Koroks, oddly enough, put right next to each other and both dancing invisibly around this little lake, swamp, puddle. Puddle probably is the best word to use here. Alright, with these 2 out of the way, we're now going to go up north to this little bit here. And this guy is a nice little cube puzzle. The cube can be found within the nearby tree, and the other half of the actual puzzle is up on the wall behind the original cube puzzle. I'm getting hot in this room, it's very hot here. Anyway, we are next going to this land mass here. At the peak of it is a rock for a Korok. Getting pretty formulaic, huh? If it wasn't already. Right, next we're going to go northeast of here, yeah, to the very northwest portion of the Spring of Courage. Alright, a little bit out of the way from... Oh, actually, no, this is pretty much right where the marker is. Excuse me, I guess my wee little eyes just didn't notice the bombable rock here. But there is a bombable rock here, and underneath that a rock, and underneath that a Korok. Right, next up, we're going to go from... Yeah, we've got to keep going west to east, really. So now we're going to go directly west of the Drakozu Lake. Right, so for this next Korok, you'll notice there's a whole bunch of stones scattered around, and one of them lying way up on a pillar. If I can even climb the thing, then maybe I could do something. There we go. So what we need to do is get the boulder off the pillar. Ugh, that's not quite how I wanted to do it. I mean, it was, but I missed. Man, can I not do that? Fine then, I'll just throw something at it. That'll give it the momentum. There we go. And now all we need to do is put that stone in its rightful place, which is over in the right corner. The one corner that doesn't have a boulder on it. Finally. Wow. Okay, right, now that that one's done, we're gonna go up again to the top of the spring of courage. Lovely. Anyway, here you can see that it is a lovely little cube puzzle. One on one hand and the other half on the other hand. The movable cube is in the left hand, where it needs to go to the right hand. Pretty simple stuff. That's how it is. There we go. Right, now that that's done, we're actually going to go to the very center of the Spring of Courage. It's actually at the top of this whole thing. At the very top of the tree, growing out of its head, there is a rock to pick up to get your Korok. Next up, we're moving all the way back down again. We are going... Wow, we are really going to this little body of water on the far right side of the whole Damel forest. Interestingly, I can't actually climb this waterfall with the Zora armor. Huh. The last Korok on this little path can be found just above the waterfall on that body of water on the right. Right. Now we're going to go and do the final scan. This shouldn't take too long. We're going to go to this little land. Again, it's not named. Not all of them are. Just west of the Daya Lake. And this guy is very simply a ball and chain Korok. Oh, 490. Oh, we're not going to get to 500, are we? No, we've only got 3 more. 5 more? 5 more. Oh well. Next one we're going to is on this little island in the Daya Lake. And just like last time, this Korok is also a ball and chain, though this ball is actually attached to the building, so you can't do things straight away. You have to actually, and this is pretty cool, I'm stuck on the well, you have to actually untangle it first. I like it. Right, next up, we're going to go down south to the edge of this little island here, and to that little ring, I guess, on the map. This next Korok can be found in the ruins of this massive tree trunk. We'll see the rest of the tree a little bit later, but still, it's pretty cool that it's here. Maybe there's some theory work going on here, but I'm pretty sure it's just a giant tree fell, but who knows. Anyway, the next one we're going to is, oh, right in that tree. And then another one right near it again. Here is the end of that massive tree, and as you can imagine, it is a flower trail Korok. Where? Okay. The lack of sound really threw me off on where I'm supposed to be going. Apparently it was at the top of this trunk. I completely missed where that was. There it is. Wow, that's just my color blindness getting in the way. Can I have any more things that are stupidly messing me up? That shouldn't really be. No? Okay, great. But yes, quite predictably, it's going to be taking us down this log. Or not? No? Oh, again, color blindness. The look of the grass in the sunlight looked the same as the flower to me. Ah, that's silly. Anyway, now it's time for the final Korok in the entire Faron region. And it can be found at the bottom of this tree trunk, dancing very happily in its invisible sheen. Although the invisibility bit is really doing well for itself. There it is. Alrighty, that is 494 Koroks, now counting the ones we already gave in the seeds for to get stuff. Oh no, never mind, there is one more Korok still. It's like a little encore on the Poplar Foothills. Let's go there now. And it's time for one final game of golf. The balls are actually over here, but still, let's see if I can actually get a hole-in-one. This is like the most golf-like. Instead of just pushing the ball in, you're actually trying to... Oh, okay. Well, that's not going in the greatest direction, but you know what? We'll go with it. Right, now roll it. Oh, you rolled over, didn't you? Of course you did. All right. I'll try again with one more ball, and then I'll be safe. Oops, I didn't mean to put Bowser's Fury in, but that works too. That one's nice and weak, which means I can stasis it from here. No, I can't from here, but I can stasis it up from here. Oh no, you're gonna do that, aren't you? Ooh! Ah, that went over again. Okay. Red means you go over. Noted. I think that's about as good as I can do. Oh! Is it going in? Is it going in? Is it going in? Yeah, what a way to end it. Final ball, final Korok, perfect goal in one? Oh dear, I'm clearly not a sportsman. Anyway, that is 495 Koroks, clearly a much better and more rounded number. And with that, we have completed every Korok in the whole Faron region. We've also done, you know, the Gerudo region, the Gerudo Highlands, the Hebra region, I've forgotten the name, the Tabantha region, you know, the Elden region, I haven't done the Akala region yet, the Lanayru region, and the West East Nakluda region, and the Great Plateau. That's enough of a mouthful. We've still got a whole nother area to do before we go and take on the next story progressive point, which is what I'm going to do next time. For now, though, my name's been Daz. You didn't really care. And I will see you somewhere else. Did that throw you off? Did me too, actually. I wasn't expecting to say that.